On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram here with some breaking news that Jim Jordan will not stand for a fourth vote for Speaker. Chad, what happened?
Oh, he did not vote for Congressman Jim Jordan, instead voting for Tom Emmer. Well, I guess my first question is, do you really want Tom Emmer to be Speaker?
No, I don't. I don't like Tom Emmer. I figured this would be the worst job in America. Mike Rowe would not want to do this for his TV show. This is a terrible job.
Okay, so just to underscore that, you voted for somebody because you don't like them.
I voted for somebody because I wasn't going to vote for Jim Jordan.
But you don't.
You know, I really mean it when I say that I despise the Republican Party. It's true. As a conservative, I guess I vote for them and, you know, register for them because I don't really have much else of a choice. Sorry, Libertarian. Sorry, Constitution Party. I meant what I said. There is no other alternative choice. But the Republican Party is a failed institution. It's a complete joke. And at least on the House level, you know, I would not be surprised at this point if 2024 ends up being a complete disaster. Now, when we first ousted Kevin McCarthy, I said, everyone right now is immediately declaring we're going to lose 2024. That's not true at all. We will lose 2024 if we cannot have a clean and smooth transition to someone who is a much better Speaker of the House. I was a little bit optimistic. I was a little bit hopeful, at least, that, hey, you know, Jim Jordan's up here as a candidate. Maybe it'll go well. Unfortunately, folks, let me just say it right now. Jim Jordan is not going to be Speaker of the House, at least not anytime soon. And the alternative that, you know, is likely to take the mantle in the meantime, this Patrick McHenry guy, is awful. He is worse than McCarthy, and I don't know. We're kind of screwed. But let me first explain why Jim Jordan it's done for him, if you're a little bit confused about this, okay? Because you may have looked at the day one vote and said, okay, 20 people voted against Jordan. Fine. 19 voted against McCarthy on the first day, so it shouldn't be a big deal, right? Well, here's the difference. And here's why I don't think there's ever going to be any negotiating with Jim Jordan and these establishment Republicans. You're never going to make these neocons happy. Compare the two. When the Maga Republicans were going out and opposing Kevin McCarthy, they had an explicit list of reasons. It was not something petty and personal. It was not, oh, we don't like Kevin McCarthy, we're not going to vote for him. They had a very explicit list of demands. When, especially in January, Kevin McCarthy made certain promises that they were pleased with, all but a handful of them turned over and voted. And then they motioned to vacate him when he broke those promises. It was purely legislative, issues of policy, issues of substance, and that's always been our opposition as MAGA to Kevin McCarthy. It's not been a petty one. It's not been a personal one. It's not really been made for clicks or likes. It's been one of substance. On the flip side, when you look at the quote-unquote principled Republicans, the establishment people who claim that they care about the health of the Republican Party, and, you know, it has nothing to do with that. It is merely personal. And how do you get over that, right? How does Jim Jordan go to negotiate with that? And you may think, okay, Vince, that's just your own bias. They have their own reasons too. No. Listen to this. We played this on stream the other night, but this is Ken Buck. This is one of the big anti-Jim Jordan guys. Listen to him explain why he voted for a non-Jim Jordan candidate. All right? And keep in mind, again, let me reiterate, when MAGA opposed Kevin McCarthy, there were actual reasons. There were demands. There were lists of things and policies we wanted. Compare that with this.
Oh, he did not vote for Congressman Jim Jordan, instead voting for Tom Emmer. Well, I guess my first question is, do you really want Tom Emmer to be Speaker?
No, I don't. I don't like Tom Emmer. I figured this would be the worst job in America. Mike Rowe would not want to do this for his TV show. This is a terrible job.
Okay, so just to underscore that, you voted for somebody because you don't like them.
I voted for somebody because I wasn't going to vote for Jim Jordan.
But you don't.
Okay, so first of all, again, these people claim to be a serious movement. We have serious concerns about McCarthy. This is not petty. This is not personal. We're not just being a bunch of whiny crybabies here. Before he explains anything else, because the whole thing is unhinged, let me just point that out. He literally said that he voted for this guy, Tom Emmer, that he does not want to be Speaker of the House. Okay? So he voted for someone for Speaker of the House that he is saying publicly he does not even want to be Speaker of the House. Immediately, you're admitting that your entire movement is unserious. You're basically treating your job in government as a joke, which in many ways it is. But to say that openly, just let that be pointed out. Let that be pointed out. That's how serious these people are. They're voting for people for speaker that they're literally saying would not even make good speakers. Okay? And that's why I'm not here to sell you any false hopes. Don't worry, guys. Give it a couple days, couple weeks. He's going to come through. No, it's not going to happen. Now, if I'm wrong, I'd be pleasantly surprised and you guys can laugh at me, but I don't think it's going to happen. Because again, you cannot reason with people like this. There's no negotiating to be done. Like, he's just being a child. It's like trying to negotiate with a 4-year-old. Oh, no. And at some point, you have to just take the toy from them, which we should do in the primaries, I guess. We'll talk about that in a second. But until then, there's no hope. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It is that simple, okay? And if you're wondering what happens next here, okay, what are we going to do without a Speaker of the House? Well, I would say at this point, just leave the seat empty. Like that's what I would propose, is just leave it empty. The government doesn't need to pass anything anyway. What is it going to be? Oh, we need to give more funding to Ukraine and then open up a new package for Israel and do all this stuff. And then we need to do another infrastructure. It's all a bunch of crap. Okay. So I wouldn't care if the government shuts down from here to 2024. It'd probably be a good thing, but they're not going to do that. The current plan is to make the interim speaker, the pro tempore speaker, right? Give him emergency powers to basically be the Speaker of the House until Jim Jordan can maybe get the votes he needs. And the timeline I've heard is to make this guy speaker until January 3rd. Okay? Make all the way till January. This is the guy they want to be speaker, this Patrick McHenry guy. And just to summarize, let me read Joey's tweet here. It says, just to describe to you who is going to be this interim speaker here. Again, he is a Republican, but he's not a very good one. Has a 46% Liberty score, which is closer to most Democrats than most Republicans. One of the most liberal Republicans in Congress. This is the guy who's going to be the interim Speaker of the House, very likely, because the neocons do not want to just suck it up and unite the party, which they claim they care so much about. McHenry is a huge Ukraine guy and will rubber stamp money going to them with no problem. He voted in favor of the Ukraine Democracy Defense Lend-Lease Act of 2022. So, there you have it. There you have it. Politics as usual, more of the same, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. He voted in favor of the 2022 Ukraine supplemental appropriation. We go on and on. He voted against Amendment 21 to H.R. 2670, the National Defense Authorization Act, which would have strucken down $300 million of assistance for Ukraine. So you basically get the idea, okay? You get the idea. This guy's going to be a terrible speaker. This is what we're going to be stuck with. And I don't know what to say at this point. I don't know what to say, okay? Now, the antidote to all of this is just to say, oh, well, we're going to primary them all out. Don't worry. The 20 Republicans, or 22, or probably 30 by now. I don't know how the third vote actually went. I'm recording this beforehand. We're going to go and primary them all out in 2024. And to that, I say I appreciate the optimism. I do, and I hope we do that. I will put in my best efforts to do that. I will endorse anyone who comes along as an authentic conservative and tries to primary these people. But the sad reality is that when you look at what happened in a lot of 2022, I have my doubts. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. Because You see, it's really easy to primary out a big person like Liz Cheney, who infamously goes against Donald Trump. And, you know, that was one of the big successes of the 2022 primaries, was getting Liz Cheney out of office. But when you look at a lot of these smaller name neocons, you know, the people whose names aren't on Fox News all the time, the people who you don't hear us complain about all the time, but you look at their record, hey, they're opposing Jim Jordan. Hey, they're doing all this funding to Ukraine and stuff. Unfortunately, it's a sad reality. These people usually survive their primaries, and they're going to have a lot of money on their side. They're going to have the GOP donor base on the side. They're going to have Fox News on their side, which sadly, when it comes to a lot of Republican voters, as bad as they've become, as downhill as they've slid, you know, and I don't think the viewers of this channel are watching Fox News every day, but a lot of the Republican electorate is. That's just what's going to happen. Fox News will run cover for these people. They already have. The GOP donor base, which is still heavily around McCarthy, is going to fund them. And you're probably going to see a lot of the true grassroots America First conservatives get, you know, blacklisted and blackballed from it. I'm not saying that to demoralize you. I'm not saying that to not try our best. I'm being sort of pessimistic right now, and it's probably a bad thing. I shouldn't be encouraging it, but because I always say too, I say, don't be a pessimist, don't be a doomer, but that's just the reality. I don't know. I'm ashamed to be a Republican. If it didn't matter for the primaries, I'd register as an independent, because this party sucks. This party sucks. And it sucks because of the neocons. It sucks because of the establishment. Okay, let me be clear about that. But the sad reality is that we have a GOP that is polarly divided. You have one side that are authentic conservatives. They want to put America first. They want to secure the interest of the American people and the American homeland above all else. And then you have another side who are complete globalists and don't believe any of the things they claim to be conservative about, and that's just how it is. So how do you reconcile a party like that? I don't know. So maybe that's why we just can't get a Speaker of the House. I don't know. What I do know is that it's a joke. Okay, it's all a joke, and that's about all I have to say. So with that said, folks, be sure to leave a like on the video before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. As always, be sure to check out our sponsors at Noble Gold. Check them out at thevincedao.com. If you fill out the form on there, it's a great way to support the channel. So, you know, feel free to do so. If you're remotely interested in getting involved in investing in gold or just curious about it, again, thevincedao.com. It supports the channel every time you go fill that out. So, you know, if you want to help support us, be sure to go support our friends at Noble Gold. And yeah. I don't know what to say. Let's do our best to primary these people, but oh boy. All right. Alpha moves only. God bless. Peace.